Hundreds of people have gathered in small towns around the country today to protest the proposed closure of 19 Westpac bank branches. Westpac says a sustained drop in over-the-counter service transactions has led to the review. It says more than 85% of service transactions now take place outside the branch. More than 200 protesters gathered in Fairlie today. Mackenzie District Mayor Claire Barlow told our reporter Conan Young that many of the community's elderly residents don't have computers, making online banking impossible.
This is a protest by the local community about the closing or potential closing of the Westpac Fairlie branch. It's our only bank in town, and there's a lot of people use it. A lot of elderly folk who need to cash cheques, farmers who cash cheques and work with cheques, don't have access to internet banking. A lot of businesses like our famous bakehouse and some of our Tekapō businesses who have a lot of cash to handle, and there's nowhere for miles from Mount Cook to Timaru if they take this bank away. So we're just letting them know, Westpac, how strongly we feel about it and that we'd like to stay open.
And so that's quite a long trip to Timaru. How long would that take somebody to drive?
From here, from Fairlie, it's a 45-minute trip, so it's 60 kilometres there. From Tekapō, it's 2 hours return, 2.5 hours return actually, sorry. So it's a long way to go to cash a cheque or do a bit of banking, and I guess this just shows that people here really value the bank, and hopefully they'll bank with Westpac, and Westpac will keep this branch open.
And so why not just use the internet, use online banking? Why is that not an option for a lot of people here?
Okay, for me it's an option, and it's what I've done for years. So this isn't about me. This is about a generation of people who haven't grown up with the technology, who still use cheques, who don't trust the system, and by the time you learn something these days, the way things are changing, it's changed, it's moved on. And so I think we're asking the bank to care. We're asking Westpac, or any bank for that matter, to care about this generation of people who still need to cash a cheque, see a face over the counter and deal in cash, and help them service those needs so that they can actually do their banking until the next generation of people come up. I mean, the rest of us, we've adapted to it, so we're used to banking like that. But what are you going to do in the transition period? That's what I'd like to ask Westpac and all of the other banks in these small towns.
Well, and on that, I mean, what have Westpac been saying to you? Are they willing to listen?
Look, I haven't had an opportunity to talk to them. I've talked to the local manager. They've been going through due process, and so they've had to consult their staff, and that consultation process finished on Wednesday. So I haven't had a conversation yet, but I know Jackie Dean has been talking to them. And
it's your local MP?
Yep, Jackie Dean, our local MP, and I'll be following that up as well. And I think it sends a clear message. It's not just about Fairlie, it's about rural New Zealand. This is the backbone of the country, and we're losing our services, and yet there's a whole generation of people here who've built this country, and they're just asking, look, what about us? We've been your loyal customers. What are you going to do? Are you just going to walk away?
So there's been a bit of talk, you hear this from economists every now and then, that rural provincial New Zealand is dying in some way. What do you make of those comments?
Well, I don't agree. I mean, look at Fairlie. Fairlie did appear to be dying, if you want to use those words, a while ago, and I've heard them say that there's 50 empty houses here. They're not empty, they're holiday homes, because people are starting to see Fairlie, Tekapō, Twizel, the Mackenzie as a wonderful holiday destination, because it's affordable, it's got amazing scenery, skiing and all sorts of other activities. So it's growing. Our numbers and our economic statistics are supporting that. We're one of the fastest growing tourism regions in the country. So I think it's very dangerous when economists generalise in the media, because it gives the message that, don't go to small town New Zealand, don't invest. Well, Franz, our wonderful baker here, did invest, and this town has benefited with new businesses coming to it. And just have a look around at all the people here today. It's just a Friday, a wet day, and our off-season now is as busy as our on-season.
The Mackenzie District Mayor Claire Barlow talking to our reporter Conan Young.